Before we begin this podcast today, I want to take a brief moment and mention about the FCC killing net neutrality. On December 14, 2017, the FCC will vote on getting rid of Title II of net neutrality and let companies like Comcast, Verizon, Time Warner Cable, and AT&T charge you a fee for fast, high-speed internet with other fees along with it. Please take the moment and head over to battleofthenet.com. Sign the petition, contact your representative of the state you live in, and let them know about how you feel about net neutrality going away. If we lose net neutrality, content creators as myself and other people will suffer. People who can't afford high-speed internet will suffer. A lot of people will suffer. The only people that will benefit from this are these companies, as I mentioned, will gain and benefit. They can tweak the internet for high speed, low speed, have a fast lane, slow lane. This is a big thing that will happen if the FCC chairman, Agent Pay, decides to vote and get rid of it. Your voice can be heard. Sign the petition. Head over to battleofthenet.com. Sign the petition. Contact your Congress and representative in the state you live in and let them know that you are against this and have them do the right thing and vote on not taking away net neutrality. Please do so. Thank you.
Due to the graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
You're listening to the Everett Lee Show, a shot of entertainment to the head. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the entertainment.
Welcome to another podcast of ELS, the Everett Lee Show. I'm Everett Lee. I'm going to give a quick shout out to all my followers on Twitter. You can follow me at the Everett_Lee, Facebook.com/the Everett Lee. Stop by there and click that like button. And also the official website of the Everett Lee Show, everettleeshow.weebly.com, the official website of the Everett Lee Show. Well, here I am, another podcast, sitting here in a hidden location in my house. Actually, yeah, I'm in the bathroom. Well, I'm not on the can. I'm not crapping my brains out right now, but I'm recording a podcast. And the reason why is I got up this morning. I told my wife I needed to finish up recording some segments for the podcast that you're listening to today. And she said, okay. I run off to the store, get my coffee, get my smokes. I come back. What is going on in the house? She's got the washing machine going. She's got the dishwasher going. She's got the TV up, turned up loud. My daughter is in her pack and play, jumping up and down, having a good time, watching her cartoons. I told her, I need to throw some audio down, man. I need to finish this and get it out today. You don't understand. Sometimes you don't understand what it means to have content. You got to keep putting content out. It goes in one ear and out the other, and she just don't pay attention, and she just goes along. And then what got me was she said, oh, you didn't mention anything about that today. I said, I told you that last night, and I mentioned when I first got up, I need to throw some audio down. I have to get this done. I have to put out the content. If I don't put out content, people start dropping off and just moving on and forgetting about me. She don't understand the concept of that at times. And she don't understand the concept of I need to have no background noise with me recording a podcast. I can't have no distractions. If I have a guest on and then they got some stuff going on, one thing or another, that's understandable. But for me, I don't want that. So I just got upset. I told her, I was like, well, you know what? I'm taking the laptop. I'm going into another part of the house. She said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to the bathroom. I'll be out in about 30 minutes. So that's what I did. grabbed a microphone, grabbed the laptop, threw some headphones on, and here I am sitting here looking at my bathroom, looking at the painting I got hung up in here. Actually need to do some stuff in here besides crapping. But that's another time, another day, when I have time. When I'm not sitting here in the bathroom with recording software recording. It's kind of like old school, how they used to do recordings back then. I don't know if anyone's really familiar with Weird Al Yankovic. When he was in college and he recorded songs to send them into Dr. Demento, he went across the room, his dorm room, into the bathroom in there and recorded because of the acoustics in here. I got the microphone like up close to me, but if I back up, maybe this, yeah, you could hear the acoustics. But let me just keep the microphone right here and just go ahead and try to finish up on this opening. Right now, my mind's going in 100 different directions right now. But one thing that's popping on the top of my mind right now, and plus my earphones, I got these things jacked up, and sometimes hearing my voice, that makes me to stutter like that. Just playing there. One thing that's on top of my mind right now is the Podcast City Network, which will be launching next year, the beginning of 2018. The Podcast City Network will be launching. There's a lineup of shows and podcasts that will be coming out when the network launch. You will not be disappointed. I want to tell you more on what shows and what podcasts, what content, and what programs will be available for the Podcast City Network, but I can't not yet. On December 4th, I will be announcing it on the facebook.com/the Everett Lee page. I'll be announcing that on the Facebook page right there, facebook.com/the Everett Lee. I will be announcing the lineup for the Podcast City Network and what to expect. So I'm excited about that. I'm really excited about the content and the shows. I've got a couple shows that's already jumping on and are ready to go. I got other original content brought to you by the Podcast City Network that will be available when launch in January of 2018. I'm so excited about this. I just want to get this out there. December 4th, facebook.com/the Everett Lee. Make sure you head over there and check out the announcement of the lineup that will be announced on what content that will be provided to you, brought to you by the network. All I can say is that you've probably heard of a couple of the shows that's on there. They're already established, but they're joining the network just to get out there more and connect and network with other shows available. So that's one thing that I'm excited about. Another thing I'm really excited about is that Thanksgiving's over. Not looking too forward to Christmas. I'm not really a Christmas type person. My wife is. She loves Christmas. I don't really care too much about Christmas. Thanksgiving, I don't really care too much about. She looks down on me on sometimes when I mention about how I feel about Thanksgiving and Christmas, but that's just me. They're just two of my least favorite holidays. Maybe it's because I've gotten older over the years. That may be a factor into how I feel about them, but thank God Thanksgiving's over. Christmas is rolling up around the corner, and one thing I hear about Christmas is the freaking bill collectors calling wanting money because they figure you got money to spend Christmas, you can give it to us. Well, that's not the case this year here in the Lee house, so they can just go fuck themselves. Well, one thing that can go screw themselves is the FCC. If you listen at the beginning of this podcast, the FCC is going to try to get rid of net neutrality. The chairman wants to get rid of it to where cable providers can tweak high speed and low speed at their pleasure. One thing they can do is they can decide on what content that you can look at and what you can't look at, what you can access online and what you cannot access. And they want to do that, and it's going to screw with gamers and content creators, especially podcasters. That's going to screw with us. It's going to screw with me big time. If this thing passes, then believe me, I'll be calling my cable provider. I'll be taking a trip over, which ain't far, to my cable provider. I'll be banging on their doors. I will be coming in there. I will be raising fucking hell. This fucking pisses me off. And you can stop this. Your voice can be heard. Don't listen to where, your voice can't be heard. Well, your voice can be heard. Head over to battleofthenet.com. Okay? Sign a petition and let your voice be heard. Because if December 14th, if they vote 3 in 2 favor of getting rid of the rules on net neutrality, it's over, man. I already told my wife that if that happens, then I don't know how I'm going to carry on with doing podcasts, because I need certain upload speeds to upload. I don't want to sit there and wait 3 days to upload a podcast. Okay? I don't want that. Also, too, I guess online gaming, that's going bye-bye. Cell phones with the data and everything, because you surf the internet. I believe my phone will go back to a flip phone. I told my wife, paying bills online, that's gone. We'll just send checks out. We'll just convert back like it was 20, 30 years ago, you know? I grew up in a time without the internet. I can do without it. I even at one point in my life didn't have a pot to fucking piss in, okay? I had nothing. I was eating beanie weenies out of a can for freaking 2 weeks, barely eating anything, didn't have nothing except the clothes on my back and no internet, no connections, okay? Nothing. I had nothing, and I survived. I could definitely survive if we have to go back to the damn Stone Age. The ones I'm gonna feel sorry for is the people who rely on their stuff every day. And I rely on this stuff for content. Okay, that's it. You know, like Facebook. I put something out there on Facebook about this, and I got a response back about getting the facts. The facts I threw out there on that post, which was crazy, because the person who commented back said this would be good. The net neutrality being gone will be good for competition. Competition, okay? Competition for capital gain. That's where this fucker is looking at right now, you know? I don't care about capital gain. I don't like it that people are playing with my life and dictating my life on what I can plug in and use in my house so they can have a capital gain. That's what pisses me off. You taking away my rights, I'm going to fight back. You could do the same thing too. So be sure to sign the petition, call your congressman and representative, and let your voice be heard. Let them know. Sign the petition with millions, okay, to vote not to get rid of this, because this is a bunch of BS. People screwing with our lives. But if you don't do anything and this goes and it passes, don't be the one that's going to sit back and bitch about it because nothing was done. Well, instead of sitting on your ass like a fat millennium, once you get up, get off of it, and do something about it. And with that said, that's final right there. Bottom line, done. Let me quit bitching about things and move on. On today's podcast, we got the Mirakuru Lounge. Give a little preview, talking about Crisis on Earth X. We're going to briefly talk about that, talk about the returning schedule of the CW shows such as Supergirl, The Flash, Arrow, DC Legend of Tomorrow. Got that schedule up. That's posted out there when there's mid-season finals and when they will return back for the fall, after the fall. Also, too, talk about a little bit about where and what the heck happened last week on these shows, on these episodes. Do a quick recap on that. McShaft's going to be joining with me here in a little bit, talking about the in-ring report. We're going to go over, talk about the WWE NXT Wargames. Going to review that. Survivor Series this past weekend. It was a busy weekend for wrestling. Going to talk about that. Briefly talk about what happened with Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. Some new faces showed up, and one returning face is back on WWE Networking. Not Network. Oh, I'm so mad, man, about the FCC thing. It's screwing me up. Also, we got the random Reddit thread for this week, which is a laugh, man. I hope everyone likes it. And therefore, I'm going to get out of this bathroom and head back into the studio, the Everett Lee studio, and sit down and get things rolling with McShaft. But before I do that, I'm going to mention about this right here, ladies and gentlemen. And then after the break, we'll get right back into it on the Everett Lee Show podcast. And as always, thank you for downloading this podcast and listening to it and supporting ELS, the Everett Lee Show. We'll be back right after this. Stay connected with ELS, the Everett Lee Show podcast on the following platforms. EverettLeeShow.weebly.com, the official website of the Everett Lee Show. Facebook.com/The Everett Lee. Click the like button, click the follow button for the latest notifications. Twitter @the Everett _Lee for the latest tweets, the latest podcast links on Twitter. Stay connected with these platforms of the Everett Lee Show ELS podcast.
The Mirakuru Lounge.
All right. For this week, for the Mirakuru Lounge, like I mentioned on the previous podcast, last week, or actually this week, or however you want to put it, actually it was last week. Last week was all about the villains. Some really good episodes. I'd have to say my favorite episode that happened last week out of Supergirl, The Flash, Arrow, and Legends would have to be The Flash, which was really interesting episode because it touched on so many things on the new villain of the season, DeVoe. It touched on a lot of things. I have to say one of my favorite scenes in the flashback of showing how this character, this villain came about would have to be about when there 4 years ago, because it takes place, DeVoe gets created into the Thinker 4 years ago. He was affected by the particle accelerator explosion. And what I like about is how him and his wife was there and the answering questions about the particle accelerator, because he created that cap to enhance his mind, to power it. But the backlash was his mind became so strong it fed off his body, and his body was dying, but his mind wasn't. What I liked about it was how Harrison Wells, which was not the real Harrison Wells, if you remember back from season 1 of The Flash, it was Eobard Thawne as Harrison Wells. I liked during the Q&A after the presentation before the particle accelerator where he's like, "Oh, DeVoe, yeah, I'm a big fan of your work." Yeah, he knows because Eobard Thawne was from the future, which was really good. I like that, and he knew what was going to happen in the future with DeVoe, but he just, savored the moment right there and is like, "Yeah, I'm a fan of your work. Yeah, definitely." And I thought that was a nice little gesture there. One villain to another. But I just enjoyed the episode about how this character came about, and it's not really clear on what his real attentions are, his real modem is against the Flash. I think it's more like a cat and mouse game right now for the fact that he's testing Barry Allen. I guess he wants to take down the Flash with his mind. You know, the fastest man can't outrun the fastest mind on the planet. Basically what I got from it. That's what I got from it. Really good episode. Really good how the dynamics went back and forth on how DeVoe made himself a victim and Barry was the villain. But in the end, people saw what happened. And the real DeVoe knows who Barry is. He knows he's the Flash. He knows everything there is about him. So that's going to be really interesting in the weeks to come. Supergirl, we got to see Sam. We got to see how and where she came from and what she is. All in all, she went on a journey to find out who she was, and she found out that she's not from this planet. And when she went to find out about where she came from, the results was not what she expected. What I got out of it with the fortress forming in the desert is that this is going to be, I guess, the female version of Doomsday Reign. I haven't looked too much on the character from the comic, but I know from what I get and what they're going to be doing on the show, I guess Kara is going to be fighting the female version of a Doomsday, a destroyer, the burner of worlds, destroyer of worlds, which is what I got from it. And it was all about her this episode. It was okay. I liked it. I liked finding out a little bit more, but then when we went over to Legends of Tomorrow, we saw the group back in Vietnam War trying to stop Grodd. Grodd got misplaced into the Vietnam War, and he was trying to start World War III. He's still pissed off about, what happened to him. I think he's going to carry that for the rest of his life, that he was experimented on and everything that happened to him, and he's going to try to destroy, and he was trying to raise an army and everything, which was really interesting. And we got to see Rory meet his father, who is in Nam, and he got a better understanding about why his father was the way he was and what happened, because he was over there and he's seen that. And one thing that was interesting was here in the last few weeks on Legends, each legend has dealt with something with their family. That's one thing. We've seen the Halloween episode with Ray Palmer as a kid. We get to see Rory now, and now it's just the timelines is crumbling around who the legends are, which is interesting. And of course, you got Stein and Jax trying to separate Firestorm, where Stein is going to get rid of Firestorm, put it all on Jax, and Jax is going to be that entity of Firestorm. But the one thing I'm worried about and curious about is who's going to step in and share that with Jax, since Stein's going to be leaving the picture. And it don't look like he's going to leave anytime soon. I think the character Stein is going to be hanging around a little bit longer than what we expected, especially what's going to be coming up this week. And then Arrow, I like Arrow, but now watching Arrow is reminding me more and more about how, say, season 6 of Supernatural was. If you watch Supernatural and you're familiar with it, if you watch the first 5 seasons of Supernatural, that was a big 5-year story, and it ended. And then it was like, where do we go from here? Same thing with Arrow right now. It's suffering from the 5-year storyline arc ending. Where do we go from here? So far, everything is looking towards like it's going to be heading towards the Star City 2046. I have right here. I pulled up. If you remember during the 6th episode of Legends during Season 1, Season 6, it was called Star City 2046. Comicbook.com put this thing up here, which is really interesting for the fact that at the time, 2046, Diggler accepted the role of the Green Arrow, with Oliver choosing to step down for the sake of his son and a pesky FBI investigation. However, Oliver has taken up the hood once again and make it clear that it is a temporary move until Diggler's well enough to resume his role permanently, which we saw on this last episode of Arrow. Even going so far calling Diggler the real Arrow, it's starting to look like Star City 2046 may be closer than we think. And one thing they brought up was that about Connor Hawke, okay? The first clue remains the same as the previous speculation, and the future Green Arrow is Connor Hawke, a young man who later revealed his identity is actually John Diggler Jr., the son of Diggler and Lila. And that was until it was Sarah, until Barry Allen messed up things in Flashpoint. At some point, Diggler was killed, and Connor blamed himself so much that he changed his name and became the Green Arrow. Oliver Queen is presumed dead, though that later would reveal not be the case. He just went into hiding. And one thing it says is that Connor is pretty upset with Oliver not trying to save the city in the first place. So he's kind of upset about that right there. And we don't know how Diggler dies or anything, but it looks like he will die and his son will take up being the Green Arrow. Then you got Slade Wilson's son, Grant Wilson, which we saw again this season, becoming the new Deathstroke. In 2046, Star City 2046, Slade Wilson's only son was mentored by Joe. However, last week, we saw that Slade didn't know about his second son until Joe, now going by Kane, informed him. Grant Wilson now exists within the Arrowverse, with Grant Wilson in the comics being an enemy of the Teen Titans named Ravager. It's very possible that Grant could head down a dark road in the present, with the road leading him to take over Star City in 2031, kill Team Arrow, and lead the world where Connor Hawke is fighting a losing battle as the Green Arrow. And then, of course, you got the Helix Dynamics, if you remember the Felicity Smock Technologies. That was the company that she took over from Ray Palmer, and it was renamed Smock Technologies. While Felicity was fired from Palmer Tech, so directly renaming the company isn't impossible. Felicity and Curtis started their own company this season. Felicity named the company Helix Dynamics, but we also saw on the episode that the buddy team is on tech, which is going so smoothly. And despite the company supposedly being a partnership with Felicity and Curtis, Felicity is making a lot of unilateral decisions. The decision on the name, decide on the great project, what would it be, and even deciding without consulting Curtis first on how to send money where it was recently given. So it's not sitting too well with Curtis. So that's one thing. And if we saw in the Legends when the Legends went into the future during that one episode about the anti-vigilante measures, and there's other clues. If you remember the message from 2056 from Barry Allen talking about the Flashpoint, not to trust himself, which led into revealing that a carbon copy of Barry Allen, which was Savitar, thrown into the Speed Force to make sure there was a speedster inside the Speed Force to maintain it. The strongest clues around the Arrowverse is headed Star City 2046 timeline. There are clues from the other Arrow showverse. Last season, the crossover included that the Legends receiving a message from Barry Allen from 2056 warned him not to trust anyone, especially him. While that could have something to do with Savitar or even the Flashpoint, it's not impossible that things could get rough from the outside of Star City. This is something we have some confirmation with the Zara Tamara's story on Legends. Zara comes from the year 2042, an era that serves anti-metahuman laws and banning of religion, and Argus is in control of the United States, making it pretty much a military state. With Barry's message being a decade past Star City 2046, and Zara being just 4 years before it, the timing of Star City becoming a diplomatic wasteland in the hands of the second Deathstroke works for a bleak Arrowverse future, one that may have its roots in an anti-vigilante measure Star City may pass on this past episode. So there's a lot going on, man. There is a lot. And the one thing I got to say is, we saw what happened with the villains this week. It's done with, okay? Everything's going to be put on hold because of the starting tonight is the Crisis on Earth X at 8 p.m. on the CW. Supergirl will be part 1. And for one night only on Monday night, right after Supergirl at 8 p.m., 9 p.m., Arrow will be on with part 2 of Crisis on Earth X. Tuesday night, 8 p.m., we'll see on The Flash part 3 of Crisis on Earth X, and finishing up at 9 p.m. with DC Legends of Tomorrow with part 4 of Crisis on Earth X. A really, really good week for this crossover. And then we'll see what happens after the crossover, what happens with it coming back. But for The Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, and Legends of Tomorrow, the mid-season final dates have just been announced. And I'm pulling this up here. The final episodes of 2017 will air the first week of December, with Arrow making the final episode of his calendar year on December 7th at 9 p.m. Supergirl final will air on Monday, December 4th. The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow will both close out the year on December 5th. Supergirl airs on Monday night on 8 p.m. and The Flash at 8 p.m. and Legends at 9, and an Arrow on 9 on Thursdays. So we got 2 more weeks, and then we go on hiatus until they come back for the year. And with that said, then that means that I will go on hiatus as well until these shows come back. And if I find anything, when it gets closer to the return dates, I will be dropping more during this segment of the Mirakuru Lounge on what to expect when these shows return. All in all, the Crisis on Earth X crossover looks really good, and I cannot wait to watch this because it's going to be one hell of a crossover. It worked last year really well. I enjoyed last year's crossover, and it helped the ratings and boost the show. It brought in new viewers and watched shows they didn't normally watch, because you got people who basically, out of all 4 of these shows, they may watch 1 or 2 of them and forget the other ones, or they may watch one show, watch 3 out of the 4, or all 4. You know what I mean? So therefore, there you have it for this segment on the Mirakuru Lounge. Going to take a quick break. When I come back, going to have McShaft with me. We're going to talk about what's going on in the in-ring report for this week, ladies and gentlemen. So I'll be right back. Are you a fan of ELS and Chris Carnage? Well, you can show your support with the latest ELS and Chris Carnage swag. Head over to everettleeshow.weebly.com and click on the merch tab to get your ELS and Chris Carnage t-shirts. Look for special promo codes when available, such as percentage off and free shipping when you buy an ELS or Chris Carnage swag. Head over to everettleeshow.weebly.com and click on the merch tab to get your ELS and Chris Carnage t-shirts.
You're listening to The Everett Lee Show.
What
right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. The in-ring report for this week. Going to talk about the War Games pay-per-view this past weekend, Survivor Series pay-per-view, and with the 2018 WWE pay-per-view schedule, some Ring of Honor talk about their pay-per-view coming on pay-per-view live on December 15th, the final battle, and a little bit about what's been going on with the Briscoes, Bully Ray, and Tommy Dreamer with House of Hardcore.
And also, New Japan started their World Tag Team Cup as well.
That right there is McShaft. He has joined me, and he's back because he wasn't here last week.
I was hibernating, I have to take a week out of winter and kind of hibernate myself. I stocked up on a bunch of berries and grass and stuff and everything, built a nice little plug for myself, and then just slept for an entire week straight.
Damn!
Apparently you did, man. Apparently you did. Last weekend, a lot of stuff happened with pay-per-views, man, especially with wrestling through the week, man. A lot of stuff, a lot of crazy shit happened. But the only thing that I got to mention is that what started off was Saturday night with NXT TakeOver War Games. I was satisfied and happy with what went down. My expectations were filled out of what an NXT pay-per-view would bring, especially when they're bringing back War Games.
And once again, NXT takes that pay-per-view proverbial bar and just raise that bar. Or actually, they're on first, so they set the bar for that weekend's pay-per-view pretty damn high. So the main roster had a lot of competition to beat with only, what do we have?
5 matches.
5 matches versus WWE's, 9?
Yeah, I believe so.
You would think
they had about 10.
You would think the main roster would have the advantage right there. You got 10 chances. But guess what? NXT came out on top again.
They did. From the opening match with Lars Sullivan and Cassius Ohno, and I told you a couple weeks ago.
I mean, nothing against Lars Sullivan. I like the guy. He's got a pretty good, big dominant character.
Right.
However, the star of that match, Cassius Ohno, the cyclone kicks, elbows. I mean,
you were right about the elbows.
They
man.
were just nasty. Even though he came up short and lost against Lars, Cassius Ohno was the star of that match. He made Lars look good, and he made himself look even better.
Oh, he did. He threw everything except the kitchen sink at Lars, and Lars just kept going, and it's like the look on Cassius' face during the halfway through the match was like, what the hell else I gotta do to this guy? I'm throwing everything. And then when Lars picked him up, and it was like when he slammed him to the mat, I was like, holy crap, you know how big Cassius Ohno is and everything. He picked him up like he was nothing.
And this is the one reason why I was worried about him coming back to WWE is that so far, I mean, he's shown that he can have some good matches. And
he can.
Wrestle, but yet, what have they done with him?
He's been in some good stuff. I mean, he was in that feud a while back ago with Sanity
and Hideo Itami.
I
mean,
he's done good. He's how long is Cassius Ohno? If you've been living under a rock, this is Chris Hero. How long has he been wrestling in the business, man?
He's been
for a long time.
He was I think he started wrestling before CM Punk even came to WWE. I believe, because he was no. Well, I think he was, but he was in NXT prior, and then left, and then spent a few years on the Indies, and then came back.
Yeah.
But he's been wrestling for a long time. I'd say probably got a bud probably about 10, 12 years or so.
Yeah, or probably longer.
Yeah.
But he's you're right, because in this match, he made himself look really good. He had the fans behind him. The fans were behind Lars, too. It was split down the middle.
I'll tell you what they need to do. They need to take this guy, Andre Almas, that won the title.
Uh-huh.
They need to have Aleister Black go after him.
Who knows? He may go
take,
after him.
Take the title from him. Okay, so now you got Aleister Black as NXT champion.
Yeah,
pretty cool. And then have Cassius Ohno start a feud for the title with
have Ohno
with Aleister Black.
That could possibility happen.
Because those two have shown in the past that they can be an awesome tag team together.
Yeah,
and they can actually have a good match together. That's who you need fighting over the heavyweight title.
Yeah. Speaking of Aleister Black. This right here, the story, the build-up with Aleister Black versus the Velveteen Dream, it was everything that a fan that was invested in a story with NXT.
Now, the only thing I would have done differently, or not differently, but kind of changed up in the match, was I loved the Velveteen Dream's ring attire with their faces on it and everything. I thought it was cool, like totally Rick Rude style and everything.
Yeah, that's what everyone's saying, man.
The tights were white with the faces on them. He's the Velveteen Dream. They should have had some, like, I would say dark purple, like almost like a velvet style tights with their faces painted on it with NXT. Do some purple or something like that on it.
That would have been awesome. You're not the only person that said that. Everyone said that. Patrick Clark has taken a character that was given to him. They're like, here, you're taking this character, you're going to use it. He's taken this character, the Velveteen Dream, and he is the Velveteen Dream. He's done what Dustin Rhodes has done with Goldust. Yep. He was given a gimmick, he's taken it, and he's turning it, and he's made it believable.
It's what Orlando Jordan should have done back in the day.
Yeah.
Damn!
Oh, my God. Had to throw that in there.
That's seriously.
Now, the story and everything, with Velveteen Dream trying to break Aleister Black out of his shell.
Yeah.
In that match, the part where they're in the match, they're going back and forth, man. When Aleister sat down and wasn't giving Velveteen anything, and Velveteen sat right down and was just like Black, and the response from the crowd, and then it looked like
say his name.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
And he wouldn't say his name. That was one of the whole points.
He did it at the end, though, and that was great.
He did it at the end. But at that moment, I'm getting so excited about this. At that moment, when he broke his character and kind of did like Velveteen, like he was gonna almost kiss him. Oh man, it. And eventually, Aleister Black hit the black mass, and at the end, he sat down and he said his name, Velveteen Dream. And the crowd went crazy. Good story, good build, and it exploded in the ring.
Yeah.
Patrick Clark, if...
I do think the only thing I can say to tweak on him was keep the whole, like, Death Valley driver into a handstand cartwheel, go up top, drop an elbow. That's cool.
Yeah.
As like a signature move. But come up with a different, like a finisher.
Yeah.
A good finisher.
Yeah. You're not the only person that said that. A lot of people have said that. You know what
I think would be a cool one for him?
What's that?
The one that Gail Kim does? It's called Eat Defeat, where like she grabs your arm, puts your boot against like your chin, then drops it on her back and stuff, and kind of like knocks you out. It's almost like a stunner, but with like your foot, against your jaw. I think that would be even a pretty cool one.
Yeah.
Something unique or something like that. But give the guy a good finisher. Still have him do the Death Valley driver cartwheel into the elbow. That's a good signature to set up something. But even that like almost like Cradle Sister Abigail style like DDT that he did. I mean, see, that's even so. There you go. Yeah. You got a good build up move. You've got a signature, and it's like give the guy a good finisher, and you're gonna have the most awesome character ever.
Yeah. Yeah,
until you get him to the main roster, and then he just shit all over him like they've been doing. So I mean,
if Vince sees this guy, he can see dollar signs because this guy can bring in some money if they don't screw him up.
I think Vince, his character.
Vince loved the Goldust character. You know what I mean? But
I think his character is better in NXT. Like, to be honest, and I love to see get up to the guy, the main roster, win like the Intercontinental title or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But to be honest. And this ain't nothing bad against WWE at all, but until Vince McMahon is gone, and someone like Triple H is running the company who knows how to use talent correctly, keep him in NXT. Don't ruin his character.
Yeah. It's going to be a while. I can see Velveteen Dream hanging out, and
it's going to be just like the Ascension and Hideo Itami. Well, not really Hideo Itami, but like the Ascension. You built these characters. They got character. They've got moves. They got the look. And then guess what? You shit all over. Look at what's his name? Tyler Breeze.
Yeah. We talked about this. We could go on and on talking about this and stuff, but let's move on to the women's fatal four-way match. Ember Moon, Kairi Sane, who won the Mae Young Classic this summer, Nikki Cross, and Peyton Royce. Right there, there were so many fan favorites right there to win, okay? Being in Texas and being there in Houston, of course, you're going to have the hometown favorite win it, Ember Moon, which I didn't expect. I didn't know who the hell to expect. I didn't really expect actually Kairi Sane to win because she already won the Mae Young Classic.
Well, I mean,
why give her
to build her character?
Yeah, why give her the title? Okay, when you have Ember Moon, Nikki Cross, and Peyton Royce, especially what they've been in and out of story wise in matches this year. Why not give it to one of them and you just give it to her? You know, it's like her reward is the women's championship. She will, I say by 2018, we will see Kairi Sane in the title picture again. Ember Moon, what a hell of a finish off of that right there. It was close. Peyton Royce, I liked how she came in and she tried to steal pins. To steal pin. Yep. You know, it kind of reminded me of how Ricky Steamboat, he comes when he's trying to get that pin. Peyton Royce, she saw opportunity, trying to get it. Nikki Cross being a loose cannon, being like a Brian Pillman.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. Ember Moon, that finish where she took both out, Nikki Cross and Peyton Royce.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then of course they let Kairi Sane do her freaking elbow drop. You ever seen the height on that thing, man?
Yeah.
For someone who's 5 foot tall, we saw her in person. She is freaking tiny.
Mm-hmm.
And too bad we didn't get to see her do the elbow drop at the live show. Yeah. But I know. But
which kind of brings back to our conversation before we started talking on the podcast here about how good NXT was live in Daytona. Mm-hmm. However, man, ROH live in Fort Lauderdale kicked the shit out of that event.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
so
talked
much
about it
better.
Last week I talked about it on the podcast.
So much better.
I talked about our 4-hour trip, going down there, seeing Ring of Honor, and coming back, and
the tow truck.
The tow truck. Yeah, I mentioned the tow truck
on the thing. I want to make a shirt. I want to make a shirt that says the fucking tow truck or something. Yeah, that's a good one.
We had Drew McIntyre defend the NXT Championship against Andre Cius Amos with Zelina Vega with him. I was totally surprised and shocked with the outcome of who won because like you, I thought, okay, Drew's going to hold on to this. He's going to go on, maybe, get into it with Adam Cole and stuff. That wasn't the case. Drew hurt himself bad, and he may be out for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like Andreas, he won this. Zelina Vega, did she not do good as a manager coming in? Yeah. She didn't overdo it or undersell it. She came in and did her things. I was listening to Edge and Christian on their Pod of Awesomeness podcast, and Edge said it kind of reminded Zelina Vega, kind of reminding him of Lita, how the Hardy Boys would be out there doing their thing, and then when the ref's distracted, Lita would come in, do get up on the ring apron, her Karana, and go back over, and the ref turn around and is like, what the hell? And she's sitting there like, what? It kind of reminded that. But the match was great. They're both fantastic performers, and the ending was a shock. Drew is hurt. I think he tore something like on a bicep or something on his arm.
Yeah, I think he
man.
tore his bicep or something.
And he's going to be out for a while, man.
6 months, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, it sucks, but I could see them like bringing him back, and I know like a lot of people told him that was close to him, like Edge and Christian. They're like, dude, you'll come back bigger, better, stronger after an injury. You know, take time, heal. You'll come back. You know, put him back in the title picture.
Because then you're not going around wrestling at like 80%, 70% all the time being hurt. You got time to rest up, you know. But, I mean, to be honest, I've never been a big Drew McIntyre fan.
But he's done good, man. He went out there. He got, you know, he wrestled. He went to different promotions. He did his thing. He came back.
But
he was the champion.
But here's the thing.
Now with Andreas Sienna, it's going to be interesting in him seeing NXT champion. Who's going to step up? Maybe a Aleister Black, you said, step up,
my thing
or
is
Cassius Ohno.
My thing is that everyone's always, since McIntyre's came back, he went away and got better and came back, and it's like, yeah, that may be so, but he may have gotten better as far as Drew McIntyre is. But as far as like wrestling, the way NXT's been going, the people they have in NXT, no. I mean, to be honest, I'm not a fan of McIntyre, and it's not because I don't like his character or anything like that. But when I watch a Drew McIntyre match, it doesn't. There's no entertainment value for me there. There's nothing that really sets that match apart from any other match that really just says, wow, you know, that match was phenomenal. However, on the cross side of things, his opponents that he's had so far, like Andre Almas, whatever his name is.
Yeah, Sienna Almas.
Okay, so
fantastic, man.
His wrestling work is entertaining.
Yeah.
You know,
especially with Selena Vega by his side now.
That match was good because of Andreas, not because of McIntyre, to be honest. You know, I really don't think there's anything super special about McIntyre that's going to separate him from the bunch, that's really going to make him, you know, like if you could think of NXT as a bubble, and certain stars in NXT are like tiny bubbles that are like attached to it on the outside. Yeah. Okay, so you got guys like... at the time, you had like Shinsuke Nakamura. He was a bubble on the outside. Something special. Right. You got guys like Aleister Black, Velveteen Dream, you know, Sanity, right? Yeah. Little bubbles on the outside of this big bubble because they're kind of separated from the bunch because they know how to, you know, put on an entertaining match. You know, not saying they, you know, don't know how to wrestle good, but like they do things in the ring that, you know, makes their match more entertaining. The characters are good. But then you have McIntyre here. He's still on that big bubble. He hasn't found what his niche is that kind of pulls him out of that bubble and makes him, you know.
All in all, you don't find him that interesting.
No, and I'm not saying
I'm not gonna bash you for it. I get it.
Here's the thing. It's almost like for me, he's the opposite of what Jinder Mahal is. So Jinder Mahal has a good gimmick, okay, which makes it kind of entertaining, but his wrestling fucking sucks, and his matches are horrible. On the flip
that's
side,
why they got the Singh brothers with them. That's why
on the flip side, you got McIntyre, who can wrestle better than Jinder Mahal. He's got some good wrestling skills, but his gimmick sucks, and his wrestling, it's just nothing incredibly special that makes him stand out.
Let me ask you this. When Drew McIntyre was in Impact...
Didn't like it. Nope, not at all.
Didn't like it?
Nope.
Now, what about when he went across seas over to Ireland?
Nope. Okay. I watched him over there, too. Yeah. Nothing. No.
All right.
To be honest, no.
No. All right. Yeah, I know. You've made it.
Yeah.
Let me just say this, McShaft. You've made it clear how you feel about certain wrestlers on the podcast. And
Well,
I know I get where you're coming from,
and it's nothing personal.
And I'm not gonna be like, yeah, it's nothing personal. I'm not gonna be like, you don't like that person. What's wrong with you?
Well, no, I know.
I'm
I'm saying that in case they ever listen to this podcast. If Drew McIntyre's listening to this podcast, it's like it's nothing. I mean, it's just like when you watch movies.
Yeah.
You have some movie stars you like and some you don't. You know, I mean, but you see, the thing about me is that unlike the casual WWE fan, you know, I watch all these different promotions and stuff, so I see different wrestling skills from different people, different promotions, you know, and for me personally, I know what draws my attention and makes the match entertaining for me to make me want to watch it. You know,
yeah,
it's just like, I mean, it's kind of like when you watched, the old match of like the Young Bucks versus like Red Dragon back in Ring of Honor from like 4 or 5 years ago. It's like, holy crap, those matches are amazing. But then it's like you go and you watch a tag team match of like Breezango versus like the Hype Brothers, and it's just like, yeah, no. You know?
Talking about Red Dragon.
There we go.
The main event, War Games.
Loved it.
War Games.
Loved it.
Do you now before just real quick? Do you remember the old WCW War Games?
Even the NWA ones.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now, you remember how the rules went and everything.
Yep.
And
one
stuff.
person from each team, one at a time. You had a roof on the cage. So
yeah, they kind of did things different, but
which is fine. It's a WWE twist on the match.
Yes,
you know.
Yes. Triple H, I think, you know, what he did and what he brought. I think a lot of people said Dusty would have been proud of how this turned out. A lot of people liked it. I've heard some old timers were kind of like, you know, but it turned out great. It did.
Yep.
You had the shark cages. You had the shark cages
up on the stage.
The first group out was Sanity. So Sanity came out. Okay, you had Killian Dane and Alexander Wolf were in the cage. Eric Young went out. Then you had the Undisputed Era, I believe. They came out. Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly were put in the cage. Adam Cole went. He got a big pop, man.
I'm telling you. Even now, can you imagine Adam Cole here feuding with Aleister Black or like Cassius Ohno or Velveteen Dream or something like that?
It could be possible.
I know.
Man. Oh, God.
Dude, give this guy the heavyweight title, please. Please.
Yes. Now, I was worried about this team, and I didn't realize when I saw the promos, Paul Ellering was in the first War Games.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. I totally forgot about that. I'm like, oh, shit, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
All right, you got the Author's Pain come out. All right, it's like, and then all of a sudden you had Roderick Strong. How did you like the fact that Roderick Strong embraced, came out like, you know, like just like the Authors and everything and stuff. I like that. So the match started out with Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, and
which I think was perfect.
Young.
It was perfect how they did that because you have the quote unquote leaders of the groups. I mean, Roderick Strong in that case. I mean, but the Authors of Pain are the tag team. So you have kind of like the essential leaders start things off. And then the concept, their idea was when the team is released, it's like you have your team to come back you up to the leader. Yeah. Which I like that whole idea.
That was good.
You know,
that was good.
I love the fact that they brought some weapons into the mix.
Oh, God. Yeah, Sanity was like, okay, we're going to be locked up. We're going to have a party.
Yep.
Now, since you mentioned Sanity, what the hell do you think about Killian Dane, man, with all the stuff
coast to coast and all that kind of stuff? I know, it was crazy.
And doing the Samoan drop.
Dude, Wolf going through the table and splitting his head open.
Oh, my God.
That was, man.
And one of my favorite parts that stood out, you see, I was wondering about how the Authors and Roderick would function as a group.
I knew they were going to.
They functioned great. I loved how they threw Authors came in when their time came, and they threw everyone over the top rope.
And they
grabbed Roderick.
And they threw him into
was like, all right, let's do it. And just going back and forth.
I loved how they used the steel plate to connect the rings.
Yes,
I loved how they used that too.
Yes, I love. Remember when they brought in all the weapons? You heard Kyle O'Reilly knocking his ass out
Yep.
with the chair off the rope. Boom. He kind of did what The Rock did in that botch a few years ago.
That
was purposely, but all in all,
my only critique on that entire match.
yes.
And you can guess what it is.
What's that?
Why the fuck did you not put a goddamn roof on that cage? Okay.
We saw
WWE always finds some way to fuck something up. Okay.
Well, you can blame Triple H on that.
Here's my response if Triple H ever listens to this. Okay.
I think you did a good job.
Here's my response to that. The reason why you should have had a roof on the cage.
You're not the only one saying this.
Is because it separates the War Games match itself from a normal steel cage match.
Right.
Okay. It's just like Elimination Chamber separated itself from Hell in a Cell by having a different type of cage. They used chains. You had the pods, differences like that. You had, it was like a dome, so you had, a roof over it.
Right.
But they're like, oh, if you escape the cage, you forfeit the match. It's like, okay, so what if, for instance, let's say Undisputed Era didn't care, like, finishing the match. They just wanted to beat down the teams, just for ha. So they just left, and then they come back in later and just beat up whoever, was left in the cage. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you put a roof on it, A, it keeps people from escaping, okay?
Yes.
And then B, you can have some entertainment factor into it where you have, like, guys that try to climb up to try to escape, but there's a roof, so they're kind of hanging upside down, like on the roof hanging there.
Yeah.
And they get hit by a kendo stick or something and they fall off, or, they climb on the top and they jump off and onto somebody. It adds like a better little factor to it.
Yeah, I totally get that. A lot of people said they should have put a roof on there too, but all in all, it worked out great. Everyone loved the match. What would you rate this pay-per-view? This one here on a scale 1 to 5. What would
1 to 5?
Yes.
Ooh.
What would it be?
I'm gonna say
Excuse me.
a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5?
Yep.
I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 too. I was so happy with this.
My only thing too, I think they should have done was, I understand that they recorded some matches, for NXT during the event beforehand, the Pete Dunne, Johnny Gargano.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Okay. They honestly, they should have included those, matches, on there. At least the Pete Dunne, Johnny Gargano. That would have been an excellent, like, opening match.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch it. From what you were telling me about it, you said it was freaking fantastic.
It was. That would have been the perfect opening match. I think that match, Pete Dunne Gargano, would have kind of helped with some of the letdown, in my opinion, from the Drew McIntyre match. Just because, like, the entertainment factor for it. But I mean, come on, if you had 6 matches, that's not bad, Yeah. It'd been perfect. You start off with the UK Championship defending, then you kind of break it up with the Lars Sullivan, Cassius Ohno, and then you build it back up with the Aleister Black Velveteen Dream, like people wanted to see, and then you do the women's match everyone wanted to see. You kind of tone things down a little bit with the heavyweight title one, and then you end it with the giant climax, of the War Games.
Yeah.
But you know what? At least we got to see, Pete Dunne Gargano on NXT.
Yes.
Phenomenal match. I'm praying, keep my fingers crossed, that when they finally bring Pete Dunne to the main roster or just have him on NXT full time, they really push him, give him a title, like run with this guy because he's phenomenal.
Well, you should have seen the response a while back ago when he was on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, I did. I was amazing.
That was amazing.
They loved the response.
That was.
And once again, here's my only thing is, like when it comes to the main roster, it's so iffy.
Yes.
It is. Like Samoa Joe, they've done a pretty good job with. Shinsuke, I think they've done okay, but they're still crapping on him more than what they should.
Yeah.
And it's like
I totally get it.
Samoa Joe should have like went out there and like been like, yo, Miz, be like, I'm tired of you talking crap. I'm the crap talker here, whatever it is, have him go out there and he should have destroyed the Miz, caught the Intercontinental title by now, Instead
Well,
of,
apparently,
you know what I'm saying?
apparently, plans got derailed when he got injured, so that's why.
Yeah, I know.
Back
I know.
at the. At the.
I mean, it was cool they put him in the heavyweight title mix and stuff.
Yeah.
And
I totally.
That was
get it.
cool.
Yeah.
But like right now, I mean, they really need to do something with this guy. They need to give him a title and have him really start running with it and like start kind of plowing through some people. Show his dominance, kind of build his character back up. They really need to start doing that.
I believe so, and with Survivor Series.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yeah, Survivor Series. We had 3 pre-show things, which I really don't care about.
Here's the thing, though. I can't believe I survived through this series of matches.
I'm gonna say this pay-per-view. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't great. I mean, it wasn't like spectacular or horrible. It was decent.
I'm gonna start off with this right now.
What?
The 5-star rating. I'm gonna tell you right now. This pay-per-view right here was like a 2.5.
For you?
Yes,
Okay.
a 2.5.
I'm going to pick out. I'd have to say the Shield and New Day. I was entertained by
overall.
Overall,
all 10 matches. How would you rate it out of 5? I'm saying 2.5.
2.5. I'm gonna have to give this pay-per-view a 3 because I was surprised with the Brock Lesnar and AJ Styles match.
Well,
that right there was unexpected.
Here's one of the factors on why. One of the many factors on why I'm rating this 2.5.
Yeah,
you got 10 chances here to outdo NXT,
yeah.
And really, I would say maybe 3 were like up to par, but maybe I mean, I would say 3 matches kind of stood out as like entertaining. So 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
And to be honest,
now I did like the 6-man tag. I did like the Shield and the Newsday.
Let's start off with the pre-show here.
I didn't watch the pre-show.
Huh?
I didn't watch it.
Okay, well I'll run
because
through this
it was this pay-per-view was too damn long. Did you watch the pre-show?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, let me start off with this. Okay,
run through it.
Elias and Matt Hardy. Okay.
Yeah.
I think they've got something going here. It's pretty neat.
Right.
Jeff Hardy still being out injured.
Yes.
While the wrestling in the match and stuff wasn't the greatest, and this is what I'm talking about here, okay? Character-wise, it was pretty good. Elias has a good gimmick. I think he needs to do less.
Eliza, whatever
you want to call him. Eli. I think it's Eli.
Yeah, it's
Eli.
Eliza.
No, it's Eli. There's no A at the end.
Eli.
So, the S is silent. The S is silent. So anyway, so he has a great gimmick. Okay, I think his look is good. His gimmick
what the fuck he's done?
His gimmick is good. I think he needs to do less of the sitting and playing guitar promo stuff. Yeah. Do a little more wrestling. And then on the other hand, you have Matt Hardy, who's still been teasing like this broken, I'm insane kind of gimmick. So it worked out pretty good as far as, creative-wise, gimmick-wise. Match could have been a little bit better technical, but, I mean, Matt Hardy's never been the best, entertaining person in a match anyway. So I thought it was pretty good. The Enzo Amore Kalisto match, I'm going to tell you right now, get the Enzo Amore, you need to get this fucking guy out of here. Get him out of the promotion. Get him, I mean, seriously, budget cut right there. There you go. Next budget cut. Get him out of here. I mean, it was kind of an entertaining match because Kalisto can do some pretty cool stuff, and they tease, oh my God, he's going to win the title back. It's going to be one of those back and forth things.
Right.
No, they kept it to this fucking whatever.
Now, let me ask you about Owens and Sane as a tag team. How did they do?
They did good. As far as their character-wise, they played off the whole heel thing good. I'm upset because I left off of, the big tag team match.
Right.
To be honest, Owens and Zayn should have had a match on the main card.
Yeah.
They need to keep these two together as a little tag team and have them win the tag team titles. I mean, they need to really push these guys. Supposedly, word is backstage that all the heat that they had from before.
Yeah.
As far as Kevin Owens, it's gone. But it's still on Sami Zayn. So, unfortunately, Owens is going to have to suffer because of this, which I think is fucking bullshit. You got two amazing guys that you could kind of do what they did with Chris Jericho and him. You build them up as friends in the tag team, then have one turn on the other.
Yeah.
those two could have some amazing matches if they were to just like let them do their thing.
Yeah.
Which they never will.
Yeah.
So they're wasting so much talent right there. It's ridiculous.
I would like to see them go after the SmackDown Tag Team
And to be honest,
maybe that'd be good for the SmackDown tag division right there. Have these two together, have a run with the belts for a while. You know,
Yep,
and then eventually break them off.
Yes.
You can because you could put them together because of their history. Okay, then you can break them apart, have them feud, one good, one bad, one however, which is good.
And
speaking of tag team,
not pushing those two is really just another reason why it's just turning me away from WWE.
What?
Just wasting talent.
Speaking of tag team, what do you think about the Usos in the bar? I like the Usos. I'm sorry. I like the Usos. I love the heel gimmick. And now it was like, if you noticed during that match against Sheamus and Cesaro, it was like almost a throwback. They did the Uso. What was the last time you heard that? You know what I mean? It was a good match. I like the build up for the hot tags with the Usos coming in there and stuff.
Super kicks.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good match. It was definitely entertaining.
Yes.
I do. The only thing I don't like about the Usos is a whole like gangster gimmick thing. I know it's different.
I like that.
Here's my take. Here's my take on it. Here's my take on it. So they started out, they're good guys. They got the Samoan gear on, their heritage. Yeah. So they turned bad. So of course you got to have like a bad guy look to them.
Yeah.
So I thought it was cool at first, coming out like this and everything. But now what they need to do is they need to start like kind of incorporating a little bit of like some Samoan stuff into it, with still keeping the gangster thing, because eventually they're going to go back to being good guys and stuff and everything. So my idea is
they may kind of change their look a little bit.
Instead of wearing fucking sweatpants out there, okay, like you didn't pack anything to wear, don't look like a homeless guy. So. You give them the like wrestling pants like Tajiri used to wear, or like Shawn Michaels, the wrestling pants.
Actually, I think one of them is wore the pants. I think it was Jay or Jimmy's.
You give them those. Yeah. You keep them black because they're bad guys.
Yeah.
But you maybe give them like a little bit of like a tribal Samoan thing on the side of it.
Yeah.
You keep them in like the tank tops or whatever you want to do for their top. Keep them with the big brimmed hats on and stuff like that. But maybe with their logo, like the Usos, maybe have like, because the style of riding for Usos is pretty cool. Yeah. But maybe throw like a little like tribal like Samoan thing like around it or something like that.
Well, let me ask you this.
Just kind of combine things a little bit.
Well, do you see Roman Reigns Samoan? Do you see him with the tribal stuff?
He's got a tattoo he shows off all the time, and his logo, quote unquote logo, that whatever fucking thing is. Yeah. It almost looks kind of tribal-ish a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Now, the women. I want to jump over to the women real quick. Team Raw and Team SmackDown.
I thought that was one of the best tag team matches or women matches that WWE has put on.
It was the first 5-on-5 elimination match of the night. Yeah. Asuka. They made they built her up really good, and
my only thing with this,
she was a powerhouse.
Well, they teased her for a while. They didn't really have to do much until she came in, which is good. Mm-hmm. Tease her a little bit. Here's my thing. Okay, so after this here, budget cuts. Get rid of Tamina. She can go.
Actually, a lot of people and a lot of veterans I listened to here recently on their podcasts, like JR and Edge and Christian, were surprised. And looking back at it, when I did watch it again. Tamina, she did some stuff and held her own as a bad guy. Now, with her and Nia Jax, that was something right there.
Big size difference.
Oh God! But Tamina, being one of the people that was left, that was still there after most of her team got eliminated, she did some stuff. I think it was her and Natty. They were like about the last two left there, weren't they?
I think the last like 2 or 3.
Yeah, but Tamina, she did some stuff that you normally wouldn't see her do, which was neat. And this right here with the eliminations and stuff, everyone getting eliminated, with Asuka being the last one left and her taking out and winning for Team Raw, that right there, a lot of people said, and I even looked at it that night, I'm like, yeah, Team Raw on the men's side is going to win this if Team with the women won this. And that was the case, with the team Raw. Now,
here's my thing. Budget cuts. Get rid of Tamina. Get rid of Carmella. Okay, Carmella, have her lose that damn briefcase. Get her the fuck out of the company. And Alicia Fox. Get rid of her. I mean, miss, I'm going to fuck up a 3-count pin or whatever. Get rid of those 3 women. Okay? And then they've already brought in 3 new ones in each brand, which are going to be...
which we'll talk about here in a minute.
Which
a little bit.
They're going to be more entertaining than those 3 ever will be. So get rid of those 3, Alicia Fox, Carmella, Tamina. Fire them, budget cut, goodbye. Honestly, Lana needs to step her shit up by now or get the fuck out.
Well, okay? I'm glad she went back and into a manager role, which she's good at. And it's like, why try to do something you're not good at?
Exactly.
Especially like with Kurt Angle and Triple H coming back into the ring on the men's side of the elimination thing. Kurt Angle and Triple H. Triple H, it looks like he hasn't missed a day when he's in the damn ring. You notice that?
Well, it's funny because you can see how he's not bulkier anymore.
Well, he's
more toned.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when he stepped in the ring and he was face to face with Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
Bobby Roode looks pretty big, but you could see like a good size difference from Triple H to Bobby Roode. It was funny.
What'd you think about the tags and everything? Like when Shinsuke and Triple H, I loved how he was like, you know what? I want a piece of this guy. Yep. Tag me in.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
But let's go on. Before we get into that, though, let's finish it up here. So Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
I thought it was.
Alexa brought it. What I loved about that match, the strategy. Alexa wrestled a way that I didn't expect to see. She's
stepping her game up because she doesn't want to be like the next Emma.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, what's going on here? Like, take a hike.
What'd you think about that? Her strategy in the match was submission holds.
I like
that was good. That was awesome.
I think that
was more entertaining than Natty Neidhart. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
To be honest, I think that because Charlotte Flair is on another level above Alexa Bliss, to be honest, as far as wrestling ability. Mm-hmm. And I thought that Alexa Bliss carried herself very well in the match.
Yeah.
Charlotte Flair, made the match even more entertaining. I thought that was a really good match by those two. I wouldn't say it was like one of the top women's matches I've ever seen, but if I had to rate that match out of like a 5-star rating, I'd probably give it like a 3.5, almost 4. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, pretty good. Because normally most of these matches, like if I was watching like Carmella fighting, let's say, Naomi, I would have given it like a 2-star or 1.5. So I think they did really good.
Now I was watching this over at I was watching the pay-per-view over at Jimmy Hart's. Now, when it came time for this match here, your favorite wrestler, first The Miz. Now, the thing was, I was surprised. I didn't expect Baron Corbin to win over The Miz.
I did,
but Jimmy, Hall of Famer veteran, said this. He said, if the titles were on the line, The Miz would have won. Since the titles weren't on the line, Baron Corbin won. I get that. It was okay. It wasn't, nothing, But the match that a lot of people talked about was the Brock Lesnar versus AJ Styles. That right there, I expected it to not be the match like it was. And at the beginning, I was listening to JR talk about it on his podcast, on Ross Report. He said that at the beginning of it, it's like people were, mad how Brock beat down AJ. But he was basically building up for his comeback, which was amazing.
Right, and that's what they should have done. That was perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect. I liked when AJ was coming back on his comeback. He was taking out Lesnar at his legs. You're going to chop a tree down. Where do you start at? At the base.
The whole slamming his head on the mat when he had the calf killer on was perfect.
Oh my God! This was good. This was more entertaining than a Jinder Mahal and the Singh brothers run around match.
Speaking of Baron Corbin, the internet has been like all over his like receding hairline that he has. Like, remember the Sasha Banks forehead thing that's out? Yeah. They've got one where they've like receded Baron Corbin's hairline back even more. It almost looks like a half like Hulk Hogan style haircut. It's amazing. Like they're totally ragging on this dude's hair.
We already gave the ratings on this pay-per-view. You gave it a 2. I gave it a 3. Speaking of pay-per-views,
2.5.
2.5.
I say 2.5. I say 2.5.
2.5. 2.5. Speaking of pay-per-views, on December 15th, next month, we got Ring of Honor Final Battle pay-per-view. We already got the main event, which is the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion, the American Nightmare, Cody, versus Dalton Castle. Then we got the non-title IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, the villain, Marty Scurll, versus Jay Lethal.
Scurll.
How do you say his name? I can
never.
Scurll.
Yeah, it's like curl, but with an S.
Oh.
So like you're gonna curl like a weight. You're gonna curl.
Scroll.
Not scroll. Like okay.
Scroll.
Curl. Like curl with an S.
Scroll.
So scurl.
Yeah, there we go.
Like curl. Like you're like you have a dumbbell in your hand and you're gonna curl, but with an S.
Scurll.
So curl. Scurll. Yeah.
Marty Scurll.
Yeah.
Versus Jay Lethal. Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship match. We got Motor City Machine Guns. Were they not freaking awesome?
Yes.
Versus the best friends.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
There's been a story going on with you're familiar with Bubba Ray, what's going on with him?
Yes.
And the Briscoes. Apparently, it looks this might happen. You may see Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer go against the Briscoes. This past Ring of Honor, I was watching. Bully Ray came out. He's doing an explanation about everything going on. Jay Briscoe comes out, interferes. Tommy Dreamer comes out. He attacks Jay. Jay attacks Bully, and then he beats the crap out of Tommy.
Right.
Him and Mark beat up Tommy. I guess apparently on the House of Hardcore,
the cheese grate.
Yeah.
The cheese grater. Yeah.
The House of Hardcore 35. I guess the Briscoes made an appearance in the main event between Tommy Dreamer and Joey Mercury.
Yes.
And they ended up taking Dreamer out and Sandman before leaving through the crowd. So they're building something here, which is pretty damn awesome. I can't wait to see where this goes. I'd like to see it spill over into a final battle. If this is going to be Bully Ray's last match, let him have his match at Final Battle. This will be perfect Final Battle.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
I do want to say, though, that over, I think it was last week, their San Antonio with match or event,
yes,
which was competing with NXT, which they made a good point that the Ring of Honor event was sold out before NXT TakeOver, and was NXT TakeOver never sold out.
No, it didn't. Did you see who showed up at the Ring of Honor pay-per-view?
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Amell from Arrow.
Yep.
And
you see he had his own
awesome.
Bullet Club shirt?
Yes.
Now.
Yes.
And did you hear what happened at the heavyweight title match at the end?
No.
Cody Rhodes powerbombed Christopher Daniels through a flaming table to win.
No
and
way.
it had a picture of his back, Daniels' back and stuff from the other day. And he still got some pretty sick burns on his shoulder blades.
Of course, man. He went through a freaking flaming table.
Yeah.
It's speaking to, I missed over this real quick. Do you see the 2018 schedule for WWE?
Yes.
It looks like nothing's coming down south here. And like you said, you mentioned Raw's getting 5 pay-per-views.
Well, SmackDown's getting 4.
4. Which
is kind of weird. I don't know why they did that. I mean, obviously somebody couldn't count.
Yeah, maybe it was Kevin Dunn. Who knows? Money in the Bank is going to be a joint pay-per-view this year. That's going to be interesting.
That's going to be good. I think they need to give both brands, the suitcase. Keep that going. Give them both the suitcase and have each, brand have their own hype with the Money in the Bank suitcase.
Yeah. Or actually,
you're going to switch brands, have them jump over and cash it in.
Exactly. You see, a lot of people speculate. It's like maybe you'll have 2 ladder matches. Okay, one for the women. Throw all the women from Raw and SmackDown in there. Throw the on the men, not all of them, but selected few.
Yeah.
Some from Raw, from SmackDown. Fight over that suitcase. Whoever has that suitcase, they can jump back and forth. That right there would mix up things, because if the SmackDown person won it, they want to cash in on a Raw Universal Champion, they can. Or if a Raw person wanted to jump over to SmackDown, they can. You know what I mean? Exactly.
That'd be sick.
Which is pretty neat, though. But I was looking at the schedule. I wanted to mention that this year or next year, Raw is getting Elimination Chamber, unlike SmackDown, who had it this year. What other one? They're bringing back Battleground, which next year Raw gets, unlike SmackDown got this year. And
you know what they
Great
should...
Balls of Fire is
gone.
it burned out.
Yeah, you know what they should. You know what they should do.
But
they need to bring back the King of the Ring pay-per-view.
They brought it back for the network, but they need to bring it back.
Yes,
you're not
and you know what
the
they
only
need to
person
do?
that says that.
You have
interpromotional
matches.
Yes, you brought back Backlash. You brought back No Mercy. I don't even see No Mercy on.
They brought back Hell in a Cell. If you remember, that was. That technically was back in the day No Way Out. It was In Your House.
Yeah, In Your House. But look,
In Your House.
They brought No Mercy is not even on here.
Isn't that something?
I know, it definitely is.
But yeah, they need to bring back King of the Ring, interpromotional matches, and the winner, maybe. I don't even know what you want to do about it. Maybe you know what they should do? Have it at the end of the year, and then the winner, who gets King of the Ring, gets to be number 30 in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That would be neat. Real briefly, we kind of mentioned... there goes my dog. We kind of mentioned on the pay-per-view, about the pay-per-view, or during talk about pay-per-views, we had 5 call-ups on the women's side for NXT. 5 people I didn't expect to show up.
5 or 6?
5. Because you got to remember, Paige
was already,
Yeah, she made her return.
Yeah.
Paige made her return on Monday Night Raw with Mandy Rose and Sonya. What the hell
I don't remember what her name
is
was.
her name? Not Sonya Deville. Who the hell?
Which one's the MMA girl?
That's what I'm trying.
Oh, is that who that is?
I think it's Sonya Deville.
Okay. The other
wait. Here we go. Yes, I was right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville showed up on Paige on Monday Night Raw.
Okay.
Now Tuesday you had Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan show up on SmackDown.
You know who Sarah Logan is dating, right? Or engaged, whoever engaged to, married, dating.
Who's that?
Raymond Rowe from War Machine.
Really?
Yes.
Damn.
Yes.
Damn. And there was speculation about next month doing the women's battle royal. The Wrestling Observer has shot down those facts and saying there is not going to be a women's battle royal. However, that's just speculation right now. Things may change.
I don't think there will be.
Now, these women getting called up, I was surprised, and I didn't like the fact that SmackDown copied and imitated with what Paige and Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville did on that. That was stupid right there. They could have introduced Ruby Riott, Sarah Logan, and Liv Morgan a different way, and it was almost like people were like that. Now, of course, the casuals weren't familiar with Paige. They're like, Ruby Riott. Oh, she looks like Paige, and that other girl looks like the blonde-headed chick on Monday Night Raw. And then I don't know the other about two. She looks like a MMA fighter. It's like
casual fans need to step their game up or get the fuck out. To be honest,
all in all, had a hell of a week of wrestling. We had a really good pay-per-view with NXT, a solid pay-per-view with Survivor Series, and the outcome of that, who knows where everything is going to go. I'm hoping that they push Braun in a really good direction with, it looks like to probably be setting up Triple H and Kurt Angle for Mania after what happened with the swerve and everything. And I love how Braun got pissed and wanted to strangle Triple H, which is cool. But
I thought, and to be honest, I thought that was fucking stupid. I thought it was a horrible way to end that match.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't want to see Kurt Angle and Triple H at WrestleMania. I've seen them plenty of times over the past. You know.
Yeah.
I'd rather
you know
see.
what? I like to see them do hook up wrestle. Well, actually, I wouldn't mind seeing it one more time though. But I'll tell you who I'd like to see Triple H wrestle more than anybody.
Strowman.
I'd like to see that. But there's another one.
Huh.
He's big in Hollywood. The
The
Rock.
Rock.
I'd like to see them go at it one more time. One more time. I'd like to see that though. But all in all,
Honestly, I think it's like beating a dead horse.
okay.
It's like him and Angle. It's like
All right.
Triple H and Angle, Triple H and The Rock have fought each other at least 500 million times. It's like beating a dead horse. So come up with something new, WWE, or you're going to lose me, you know, and probably a lot of other people as a fan.
Okay. We'll leave it as that. We'll leave the dead horse where it's at right now. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is your in-ring report for this week. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to wrap up this podcast with the random Reddit thread. Random Reddit report.
Random Reddit.
Right after a brief word right here, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Do it! Just do it! No, what are you waiting for? Do it!
Want more ELS? The Everett Lee Show podcast is available at the following. Download the audio version of this podcast and previous podcast at everettleeshow.libsyn.com, stitcher.com, Everett Lee Show. Leave us a rating and a comment in the comments section. iTunes. Subscribe to ELS, the Everett Lee Show on iTunes. Give us a rating and a comment. For the video version of this podcast and previous podcasts, visit youtube.com, Everett Lee Show. For interview segments, visit dailymotion.com/Everett Lee Show.
Just do it! Yes, you can! Just do it!
ELS, the Everett Lee Show, is your shot of entertainment to the head.
Random Reddit thread.
All right, McShaft, what do you have for this week on the random Reddit thread?
All right, so since the holidays are coming up, I like to throw this one here for all the parents out here that have kids. So this
Like
Reddit category is called funny.
Uh-huh.
So Christmas tip, wrap empty boxes and put them under the tree. Every time your kid acts up, throw one in the fireplace. Like that. Damn! Quick little survey here under the category Data is Beautiful.
Uh-huh.
They surveyed each state in the U.S. to see who is the largest employer. And in 22 out of 50 states in the U.S., Walmart is the largest employer of people.
What?
Yes.
Oh my God, what the fuck is that?
Really?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
So we're going to take a little history break here. It's already passed, but we got to remember September 11th. We all remember that day.
Yes.
So the first divorce that was directly related to September 11th terrorist attack had been filed in New York. It appears a guy with an office on the 103rd floor of the World Trade Center spent the morning at his girlfriend's apartment with his phone turned off. He wasn't watching TV either. They were doing something else. At about 11 a.m., it rang immediately, and it was his hysterical wife. She said, "Are you okay? Where are you?" He said, "What do you mean? I'm at my office, of course."
Oh, my God.
And a quick question for everyone to kind of just think of. Just something to ponder. The U.S. presidential election of 1876 had the largest voter turnout in American history,
Right.
with 81.8% of the voting age population voting. What were the factors that caused such a major turnout?
Yeah,
so
what
do a
was?
little research. It may be something interesting you find out, and you can look at the past election and before that, and kind of compare things and see, why it is that it had the largest turnout.
Right. That's awesome. I love it, man. I love it. So
Knowledge is power.
knowledge is power. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we have this week for the random Reddit thread. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is it for this week for the ELS Everett Lee Show podcast. As I wrap this up on this closing, I'm sitting here with my daughter on my lap. she's sitting there. She's trying to reach for everything and trying to grab the microphone. No, baby. Yep. You see Dada recording some audio. Yeah. Say hi. Say hi. Hey, Dada. She's shy. She's shy. She keeps... There you go. She's pounding on the desk. Yep, my 8-month-old daughter, or actually 9-month-old daughter. She's just so full of joy. On that high note, with her happiness and joy and light and everything, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming by and downloading this podcast of ELS, the Everett Lee Show. Next week, I don't know what's going to bring, what's going to happen, but be sure to check out the announcement on December 4th of the Podcast City Network lineup on the official Everett Lee Show Facebook page, facebook.com/the Everett Lee. Be sure to check out the lineup reveal and much more to come on that. And that is it. My daughter's starting to swerve out of my lap. I gotta take care of her, take care of some business, and I will see you again next week on ELS, the Everett Lee Show podcast.